Heidi ho, neighborino. Welcome back to the podcast.
Neighborino.
You're here today. Hello, welcome.
Thank you so much.
This is the Screens and Dreams podcast, something that doesn't go up nearly often enough on the channel for a few reasons. One, it ends up being longer, we have gotten so much support and we appreciate that, but I also get not everybody wants to watch, an hour-long video or a 40-minute long video. Totally makes sense. So what we do with this podcast is we talk about movies, we talk about games, we talk about things in the entertainment culture and in media right now, what's going on, things that are relevant, especially to us. Sometimes it has to do with superheroes, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it's even stuff that we're just interested in or that we're doing right now. So
absolutely. Or like this first story, something kind of serious that we think is important.
Yeah, not very fun.
So if you are watching the podcast, this will likely have gone up as a video on its own, which is about CAPPA. It's a new copyright law enforcement, a law that technically existed since 1998 and has been sort of updated by the FTC. So if you've seen this on its own as a video, I will definitely mark somewhere on the screen here, just general ballpark where to skip to in the podcast so you don't have to listen to it again. If you want to, this might be a slightly more lacking, cutting down version, unabridged version.
I like that.
I couldn't think of it,
yeah,
of the discussion. Word. So we're looking right now on tubefilter.com. I try to include most of the sources for anything we talk about in the podcast as long as I remember to. So hopefully, I do. And if it's the news story, we definitely will. But we wanted to look at what CAPPA is. This is something that concerns both of us, I think, with the channel and with any channel on YouTube. And there's a few reasons for that. I think you can vocalize it. We'll both vocalize it. I think you will have a different take on it than me because it's something that upsets me a little more than it does you.
Yeah.
Because for me, this is right now my, as ridiculous as it might sound, main income. It's like I work two other jobs. One, I'm in the process of changing. The other one, it's sort of the off season, so I work very little. So this is something that could affect me, I would say, more than you, but it affects both of us.
For sure.
And it will affect your favorite creators on YouTube. So CAPPA is a complicated beast. Let's just run through the basics of it real quick. So it's a 1998 U.S. copyright law, and it's a very good faith law that I think had very good intentions. Essentially, it restricted websites and online services from collecting personal information of users that are under 13 without parental permission. So essentially, you can't be collecting personal data from children. That's very good, right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
I think we can both agree that's very good. I think a problem with American business now, I would say, is that sort of technology companies have been able to get away a little bit with marketing microtransactions and little buy-ins to children, whether that's with video games, right? You see it in a lot of video games that are obviously directed at kids and then trying to get people to buy little things in them, all the way down to a lot of the EULAs you sign, the EULAs that collect your personal data for browsing on their site. And if it's a kid signing it and just saying they're over 18, that's the problem here.
Definitely. It's a kid basically consenting without knowledge to, hey, look at my browsing history and look at my private personal information.
Yes.
That's kind of what's happening there.
And the problem is that is an invasion of children's privacy.
For sure.
It's already borderline an invasion of your privacy as an adult, but it's something that's overlooked because it's kind of better for everybody. In the sense of you'll either get a shotgun blast of ads that have nothing to do with what you like, or you'll get ones personalized that might maybe be interesting and also help the companies by getting you to buy something related to you. So that's kind of where this comes in as a morally gray area, even with adults.
Sure, it's still a huge can of worms because you can look at it at a much deeper level. And it's a completely different discussion, but it's gotten to a point now where you talk about something and an ad pops up on your phone. But you were talking about.
But does it really?
Yeah.
Does it really though? Yeah, I know. So, yeah, and that's weird, and that is an invasion of privacy. Depending on what the device is, and you talk about something in front of your phone, and all of a sudden there's ads for that thing you've never searched online a day in your life.
Right. So
that's weird.
That's a completely different discussion.
And a conspiracy.
It is.
But
it's a hack.
But essentially, what we're trying to say is that this is a good faith idea. The problem is that the way that the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, has sort of expanded on this and broadened it, it expanded it to include the definition of operators to include creators themselves who publish on ad-assisted platforms. So obviously that's places like YouTube, even Twitch, where anywhere where there's ads, that affects you. So essentially it affects us, right? Creators themselves can be fined for violating CAPPA. Now, if that was like me going in the comments like, hey, kiddo, I see you're under 13. What's your address and what do you like to buy? It's like, totally makes sense. You're a creep, a weirdo, and why are you talking to my kid and getting this personal information?
And why
that
do you
makes
sound
sense.
like Bill Clinton?
Hey there, hey! Yeah, no, that would make sense, right? But the issue is that essentially this is taken a big dump on content creators for something that is out of their hands in a lot of ways. Content creators don't pick the ads you see, really. There are ways to narrow them down. Sponsorships are one way, obviously. Content creators pick those. There are other ways to narrow them down, like by picking like, hey, I make gaming videos. I'd like to see gaming ads. Like you can click boxes for some of the stuff like that, actually, in AdSense. It's complicated, but you can sway it. But it's the platform that actually delivers those personalized ads. So essentially, this all happens through Google and YouTube, right? So I don't think even they should be fined. But if anyone was going to be, it would make most sense for it to be the platform. Instead, this burden is sort of falling on content creators. So essentially, the idea here, and I think you can maybe expand on it a little more before I dive too deep, but it's that if your content is directed at children or kids, that you can face severe fines from the FTC for that, but they get sole discretion to determine what's directed at kids.
Yeah, I think according to this article, it said $42,000 is what you would be fined per video at this point. And so what confused me, and I think what is so confusing about this, is the discretion falls onto the committee, I guess, in this case, for lack of a better word. So what confuses me about this is that the discretion falls on them, and that's completely subjective. So you could have, one person views something as kid-friendly, and another person doesn't. And some parents might find some videos kid-friendly, others might not.
Well, and the difference between kid-friendly and kid-directed. I would say that some of what you and I cover on this channel is kid-friendly. Like, a child could watch it and not be irreparably damaged, but I don't really want kids watching our videos. I don't direct them at kids. I direct them at people over 13.
For sure.
They are directed at teenagers and adults, like young adults and middle-aged adults. That's who I want listening to be. I don't want to be shaping your children's views on anything.
No, that's not the objective of the channel at all. And what this website says, what kid-directed means, is they're looking at subject matter, visual content, animated characters or activities, stuff like that, music, age of the models, presence of child celebrities or celebrities who appeal to children in the video, language, and advertising, promoting, or appearing on the website or online service is directed at the children. So,
and that's the problem, though, is like who they are the ones who determine that. So look at our channel. I would argue just straight up front, I'm not directing this at children at all. Like, by my word, which is all I have to go off of, right? Now, here's the problem. I don't swear in a lot of videos. There are some where I do. Usually it's when I get heated about something, or when I think it adds to what I'm saying. I have nothing against swearing. I don't care at all. I have an English degree. I think words are words, right? But a lot of times I don't do it because I don't think it adds to what we're talking about, or I think it's just out of place and forced for me to do it. So does that mean that our videos are kid-directed because there's no language in them?
It's a good point. It's completely subjective at that point.
Does that mean I should start dropping the F-bomb just so that I'm not directing our content at kids?
Well, and that's the problem too, is when you look at this, what one thing that what it goes into later on in the article. I don't know if you were getting to this, but I guess I'm kind of jumping ahead.
No, I need you to, because I feel like I get off track a little bit with something like this.
No, that's
I get
okay.
emotional about it.
Was how it affects creators too, because when you change the ad from it being, I think it's if it is kid friendly, and it brings the revenue down 60 to 90%. If you were to do that. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, so essentially it's if you went to Creator Studio and you disable personalized ads completely, under the advanced tab, it would drop your revenue 60 to 90% down. So if there were no personalized ads at all, you'd be making $10 for every 100 that you should be making.
Which, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit behind, I guess. So would you do that? Would you take off personalized ads?
Would I?
No, like, I guess hypothetically. Would you take them off if they were not child-friendly? So
no.
So you would leave personalized ads on then?
Yes.
So
well, but here's the thing, though. Is like, so if you were to... Here's how it's going to kind of work. If you are a YouTube creator, and it's going to sound to you like, oh, case closed, right? That's it. Figured it out. We're done. Essentially, what YouTube creators can do is there's going to be a box that they can click, and that's kind of the weird part of this, is that there's going to be a box you can click when you upload to say this is or is not kid-directed. So I'm never clicking that it is, because I don't want kids watching it anyway. If I cover toys, I'm covering them as collectibles for adults, either to buy for your kid as an adult or to buy for yourself. I am a mid-20s man who buys toys for myself. Fine. You know what I mean? That is who I'm directing that at. But the FTC can come in and say, sorry there, buddy boy, you talked about a toy. Toys are for kids. So here's your $46,000 fine. Meanwhile, I don't make $46,000 a year.
Right.
How am I going to pay that?
And that's per video. And we've got multiple of those up, I guess. So that would be, potentially you're looking at millions of dollars. So this is just, it doesn't seem, for me, this seems like a bit of a mess. And it doesn't really make sense. And it's just basically throwing a bunch of stuff, maybe with good intentions, with some weird stuff going on with like the YouTube kids section and stuff like that. Nonetheless, though, it doesn't seem thought out, because it's going after creators when creators are just creating content and then saying, hey, I want to monetize this. And then it's kind of, like you said earlier, I feel like it falls back on the promoters and Google and YouTube to kind of figure that out. But they're throwing that burden now on the creators. And then if you don't follow that, you get fined an outrageous amount of $42,000 per video.
446, I think.
I think it was 42. I could be up. But yeah,
either way, it'll ruin you. Like,
literally
getting one fine like that would ruin me for like a year or two.
Yeah.
Financially.
That's the thing. And there are multiple videos on there. So they could hypothetically, they go through your channel, they find that after this officially goes into action. Hypothetically, they could fine you, hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's crazy to me. You can just throw that on there. And I don't see how this is going to stick like that, to be honest with you. I don't see this being something, especially once word gets out and there's a lot of pushback on this. I see this being something that gets postponed or at least honed in on.
It really should be dropped. I would argue this is an anti-American law.
Sure.
And the reason I would argue that is because you might have your own political beliefs, that's fine. But one of the key tenets of American business has been capitalism. Running unchecked and rampant, that is a problem. But essentially the heart of the American economy is supposed to be something that you and I talked about earlier. It's that you are good at something, or you can provide a service. Whether you think of YouTube videos or creations as that is what they are. It's regardless of your opinion on it or my opinion on it. It is providing a service to people. People are entertained. Entertainment's a service. Sports are an entertainment service. That's why sports players are paid millions of dollars. That's what it is. So you are providing a service and being monetarily compensated for that. For the FTC to step in and say, no, you can provide that service all you want, screw yourself, you can't capitalize on that, is against capitalist society
and
ideals. It doesn't make any sense. It's anti-consumer too, because it tells the consumer you're a moron. You can't look after your kids. You can't control your children and what they will do. So because you are having your children watch on the normal YouTube app instead of YouTube Kids, we're going to punish all YouTube creators because you're a bad parent.
Yeah.
Your kids shouldn't be on the YouTube app anyway. It's not designed for kids. It's designed for 13 and up.
Well, and even the YouTube Kids platform, like that itself has flaws too. I've seen some weird stuff on there.
Yeah, but it is designed for kids and it is closely monitored, and those flaws are usually fixed.
Definitely.
Whereas this is not directed at kids. There's nothing on YouTube technically should be directed at children anyway. Is what I'm trying to say. Is like on the main YouTube app. Because that's where the sticky part comes in, is they're the same site online, right?
Yes.
But on mobile, they're split YouTube and YouTube Kids. That's what's weird about this. So it is a very sticky situation, but I really think this is sort of an anti-creator law, an anti-American law, and it will affect the creators that you watch. This is not just like Article 13 where like it might hurt viewers and creators in Europe. This would hurt you. This in conjunction with that is like devastating first world nations in terms of online video content. It's like not only do you have Article 13's bullshit going on over in Europe, you now have this just obliterating creativity in America and allowing the FTC to step in and have their own idea of what is and is not directed at kids. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sure that they meant this to be a good thing. That's my thing, is that I'm sure the FTC, when they were implementing this, it was like, okay, well, this is to protect kids. And I think that's a great thing. I think the problem with just how vague this is that this is going to end up hurting everyone and hurting people who can't pay for it. And it also sort of operates under the idea that YouTubers are millionaires who can afford to pay off a fine like this if they're charged, and not people like me who are making less than the amount of that fine in a year. Like, how are we supposed to deal with something like this? And then it also comes back to, like, I don't know, what if the FTC wants to hurt you? You know what I mean? Like, laws are supposed to be written in a way where they protect American citizens. This almost seems like something that could be weaponized against an American citizen, because if the FTC just wants to say that it's directed at kids on your behalf, they can.
Oh, I 100%. It's a legitimate, wide-ranging problem in so many ways. And even looking at how it would affect specifically creators that are creating content for kids, because then you cannot run personalized ads on those videos.
Yeah.
So then you're not able to make... You're literally losing between, this article says, 60 to 90% of your income off of ad revenue because you have to do that. Because personalized ads will pretty much not be allowed on kid-friendly content. So that's a problem in that you're changing the lives of creators who potentially are making a livelihood off of this.
And what's wrong with them making a livelihood? Are those personalized ads... it is a sticky situation. At
because
the same
they
time,
don't want content, or they don't want the browsing history and personal information of kids being exposed. So, and that's what personalized ads do.
Right.
So then they're like, oh yeah, well, we need to get rid of personalized ads for kids. Well, that's a huge chunk. There's a huge difference between personalized ads and regular ads, according to this article.
But the problem is there's also no way to discern whether it's a kid on the other side of the screen or an adult. A kid can lie.
For sure.
So if a kid lies and says, I'm 18. By the way, I know pretty much everybody did this back in the day when they made YouTube accounts. All my friends did, and said, I'm 18 when they made the account.
Yeah.
So would the creator then be in violation of this law because there's a kid using an 18-year-old account that is then being compromised through personalized ads?
There's just a lot of holes with this.
Oh, this law is Swiss cheese.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the problem. And I am afraid to speak out against governmental laws. I'm just going to be honest with you, because I was always kind of taught that, like, if the government does want to come down on you in any country, they kind of can. So, like, it's scary to even say anything about a law that you disagree with. It shouldn't be, but it kind of is.
No, and with something like this where it makes sense for you especially, because this is, and I mean, I'm obviously very engaged with it as well, but for it to be something where you want it to be your career, and it is a lot of people's careers, and especially, more specifically in this case, for people that are focusing on child-friendly and, like, I guess, more relaxed and...
like Ryan's toy reviews could be an example of that.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was going with.
I know they have a lot of money already in the bank, but, like, so does that, just because they have that, they shouldn't be allowed to make more?
And they get the revenue cut in half or more?
By 90%?
Yeah, potentially up to 90%. Like, that's a huge difference in people's lives, simply because, and I get the idea of not wanting kids' personal information being exposed. That's a great concept. Nonetheless, I don't feel like content creators should be punished because of ads that are playing on their channel when they're just creating the content and then running the ads.
And the platform is what's dealing with.
Exactly.
Well, and that's sort of my issue too, though, with, I don't want to repeat myself 100 times, But that is my issue with them being able to have the sole discretion of what is and isn't directed at kids. What I think is that the way this is written needs work, because if anything, it should be like, if there's going to be a middle ground here, this is a crap middle ground. But at the very least, if you tick that box and say it's not directed at kids, you should not be able to be fined at all, because that shouldn't even show up for children. It should be so that like under 13 can't access that video then. It's like age gating. Does that suck? Yeah, but it's better than possibly the creator facing massive fines. And really, even that shouldn't be the case. Because at the end of the day, knowing if your kid went to pbs.com 10 minutes ago is not the same as knowing your kid's full name, address, where they go to school, and the color of their hair and eyes, and when their doctor appointment is. And you know what I mean?
Right.
Personal data and personal information are a little different. There's different levels of them. And I think that this is sort of like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, we have a problem here. Burn the whole thing to the ground.
Yeah,
it's like, that's not the way to solve a problem. This is why government operates slow. Is so they don't do things like this.
Yeah.
And don't devastate industries. And the government, I don't know if they do or not, but like, any person or government might not respect the YouTube or entertainment industry in this way. It's still an industry. It still deserves protection for the people providing the service just as much as the consumers. And for it not to be offering that is really sad, ridiculous in my opinion, and something that I think we all should speak out about. And so that's all I have to say about this. I think it is for you too.
For sure, yeah.
But I do want to encourage you to... I don't like petitions. I'm going to say that right now. I think a lot of times they don't do anything. I think in the terms of government, though, versus private entities, petitions show the government what the people want. There is a change.org petition. I personally am urging you to sign it. It will take 10 seconds of your day. Honestly, I think that is worth it to protect both the people that you care about producing content along with the content you consume. I also think that you should take a couple minutes to make a comment on the proposed rule that they're trying to actually implement at the beginning of the year, because that will sort of show the FTC as well that people don't like this and don't want to stand for it. And then I would also urge YouTube content creators to sort of band together to speak out against this. I don't know how you band together to fight a law without breaking it. I'm not really sure what that entails. But I know that up until the point where this is enacted, we can speak out against it. And for now, that's all we can do. So that's sort of my piece on that.
I agree. I don't have anything to add to that. Yeah.
It's just very frustrating to me because this is something that like I have a huge passion for. And it's like, as we get further and further into it, there's more and more roadblocks all the time. You know? And it's just unnecessary. And
it's just becoming harder and harder to be a content creator, I guess. So.
Well, and I don't get why they would do that to this and not like television. Like, why is it okay for just scattershot ads to play directed at your children, but not personalized?
Yeah.
What's the difference, really? You're still selling something to a child.
And they're almost more appropriate ads, I would feel like, you know?
Yeah.
Than compared to like a Viagra commercial, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not necessarily that's playing on Disney or something,
No.
you know what I mean? But like...
Well, not
I don't know.
Not the unedgy Disney.
You're right.
Yeah, no, it's not, but yeah. That's true. It's that stuff doesn't show up on, non-kids... It doesn't show up on kids' channels, but you are right. Like, what is the difference between... Your kid is sitting watching Showtime, watching Dexter, while you're in the other room, and your kid is watching YouTube, watching Ryan's Toys reviews, and he gets a personalized ad.
Right.
What's the real difference here? Just that it saw his browsing history? If you use the same computer as him, it saw yours too. Also, why is your kid on a computer?
Yeah, well, and
there's a lot of problems here, man.
I get the idea of it. It's not great. No one really wants their browsing history and personal data being looked at.
No. And I'm not saying it should be.
Right, but... I don't know. I get it. It's got a lot of holes, and I think it's got a lot of issues, and it's something that is going to get a lot of pushback, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it should, and I honestly urge you to push back against this as well, because I think it's ridiculous. I think it's going to hurt not just the content creators. Like, even if you don't care about that, it's going to hurt you as someone who enjoys entertainment. So it hurts everybody. I don't think this is helping anyone the way it's worded now, even though it's with positive intentions. So I'd like to move on to something a little lighter, and the rest of the podcast is going to be a little shorter. So the first thing we actually have is Heroic Hollywood. This is a bit of a spicy story.
I don't know much about it. So I will be learning with you.
No, but you do.
Oh,
I just don't know that you do.
Really?
So you have a Facebook, just like me.
Sure.
And we both follow Heroic Hollywood, even if you don't remember it. We both did back in high school, actually.
Okay.
When we were interested in superhero movies. And we still are. But essentially, I wanted to look a little bit at Heroic Hollywood's problem.
They have a problem, you say?
Oh, they do. They really, really do. And this is all my opinion. My personal opinion. It is not fact, so take that for what you will.
Oh, no.
Heroic Hollywood has a clickbait problem.
Wait a minute
A really bad clickbait problem. Every time I check my Google News feed, every time I swipe left on my phone, I got my Google Pixel 2 XL, saving up for the Pixel 4, but I don't make very much money, so we're waiting on that one. The swipe left, I look over, I'm like, what's going on today in the news? Oh! Robert Pattinson dons Arkham Batman suit to battle Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke in awesome image. Whoa, they released some new Robert Pattinson images from the Batman.
Wait, that's the Deathstroke from Justice League.
We click on it. What is it? Fan art. It's fan art. This is an article about fan art.
So
An edited Photoshop image of a movie.
That's not.
That doesn't exist.
That's not that. That's not what that is.
But that's what that is. Oh boy, what do we got here? Ooh, Mark Hamill's rumored to show up in the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. Oh, I'm checking my phone. I see this little article. Mark Hamill suits up as the Joker for next Arrowverse crossover event in New Image. It's confirmed he's in the CW Arrowverse crossover.
Stop that.
So excited. I click in there. Oh, it's fan art.
What is with the fan art?
It's a fan image. Somebody made it. Is it cool? Yes. Does that person have skill? Yes. Does that fit this title at all? Oh, wait a second. Let me call my buddy here. My buddy out getting the Declaration of Independence, Nick Cage. Hello, Nick Cage. What do you think? Does that fit? Absolutely not. That does not fit at all. The bees. Oh.
Thank you,
Nick Cage. Very cool.
Very cool, Nick Cage.
For legal discretion, I did not actually talk to Nick Cage. That was actually...
That was actually a poor man's George W. Bush.
That was Kick Nage.
Okay.
Nick Cage from Bizarro World.
Kick Nage.
But whatever. Like, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Ooh, what's this? Hugh Jackman wears his accurate Wolverine suit in incredible image. Hugh Jackman is back. Logan wasn't the last movie with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. He's back. It's confirmed. And it's fan art. And it's fan art.
You are not this excited.
And it's fan art. It's fan art again. Welcome back to fan art. Hey, welcome back to the fan art hour. How you doing, fan art? Ooh, what's this one we've got here? See Tom Welling suit up as Superman in New Image, blah, 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 blah. It's fan art. It's all fan art.
So you're getting mad because they're getting you all excited and then lying to you. Kind of, though, because they're telling the truth in that it is fan art and it does depict what you want.
No, but they...
So what's the complaint?
In a lot of them, they don't say that it's fan art in the title. In some of them, they do.
Exactly.
They will say...
That's the point. Clickbait.
In incredible image. So, yes, they're not saying an incredible official image, but that's the understood of that. It's like in English how you have the understood you.
They're truly geniuses. I
like how you glossed over that.
I did, yeah.
You gotta admit, though, aren't you a little sick of seeing stuff like this in the media?
Dude. It's genuinely bad. All jokes aside, it is a problem because this is how rumors start. And
now, we on the channel don't start any rumors, especially not about something like the DCEU.
We would never.
And we never use salacious thumbnails or titles ever. Never to... No, look, that's the thing. How dare you? That's the thing, though. I get them wanting you to click on the site.
Absolutely.
They need hits. There's nothing wrong with that.
But it's lying to you.
Well, is it?
Well,
that's the question.
It's like...
In our opinion, it seems like a lie.
Maybe just deceptive, then. Fine.
It seems like it's worded in a way where they could be like... hey man, we didn't say that this is an official image from the movie. That's my problem with
it's like a loophole, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, it's like finding... It's like someone pointed out in the comments, it's like when they said that Arkham Knight was an original character. An entirely new original character created with DC Comics. I don't know about that. Word salad is what that is. It's like you talk in a way where you are not lying, but you're not being very truthful.
No, exactly. It's not lying, but it's just... It's deceptive and it's disingenuous, honestly. And it's just annoying because you see these headlines and you see things that get you excited, and then it's some person that draw it. And like you said, they're incredible drawings and they look great.
Yeah,
but
nothing against the artist.
But there's no substance to it. It's just an imagination that was put onto a piece of paper or in Photoshop or whatever. It looks great, it's cool, but it's not what I clicked on the article for, and therefore I leave the article immediately like, oh, okay, fine, that's cool, bye, that's it.
Well, and that's one thing I do want to give Heroic Hollywood credit for, by the way. Sometimes they do say it's fan art in the title. Sometimes.
Okay.
I'm not saying they never do that. My problem with this is that sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And it's often enough that it's always popping up. And I don't know if it's reposted, like if these are updated and reposted on Heroic Hollywood, or how that works, but I will see the same story pop up at the beginning of my Google News feed 2 days, and then it'll be gone, and it'll be back a day. And it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't really know how that part of it works, and they might have no control over the Google end of it, right? But I'm just saying that it's a bit of a problem because it is sort of pulling people in a way where it feels like... Are you looking up Heroic Hollywood?
No, I was looking at something else.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's totally fine. But it sort of feels like they're trying to get you in on a false premise. That's the vibe that I get from these titles, and that's sort of the problem that I have with them.
Okay.
But I don't know.
I get it.
Do you have anything else with this?
I don't. I mean, clickbait, we've been around it for a while now, so it's not surprising, I guess, and that's, it's just... It's something that is everywhere, especially in like media or in like news reporting sites like that.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with trying to get people to click.
Right.
It's when clickbait crosses over into something that could be completely misleading and not what you're doing.
Yes, and this is more of a lighter one. It's nothing really serious.
Well, it's not even like they're doing anything against the law. I would argue they're not doing anything morally wrong.
No.
It's more like a roll your eyes. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, come on.
That's all it is.
Do we really
nothing serious.
No. It's not even going to be its own video.
No.
It's just going to stay in the podcast because this is not calling them out specifically. It's something I see from tons of sites.
Yes.
But it's funny.
It's just kind of funny. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
So next up, we have something you and I talked about last week, but the podcast was cursed and didn't happen.
That's correct.
Because it had like a huge audio issue.
I was going to add to that, by the way, with some extra stuff on here with that, if you wouldn't mind.
The clickbait?
No. With the, are we talking about the Zoe Kravitz?
Yes. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the Batman movie casting. Yeah, there is a new thing.
I did want to add some new things.
So can we throw that in at the end of it, or do you want to start with it?
Absolutely.
Do you want to start with it, or do you?
Let's start with it, and then we'll work our way from the most current down to the oldest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So what I was thinking
Not allowed. I'm taking the reins back here. Hey, have you seen the Santa Claus?
With Tim Allen?
We're allowed to diverge onto different paths. Like Robert Frost with The Road Less Traveled, I'm allowed to take this conversation and completely swipe it off what we're talking about.
What?
So
what do you mean?
I was going to say, have you seen The Santa Claus with Tim Allen?
Yeah, I have.
Have you specifically seen Santa Claus 3?
Yeah, with Jack Frost.
Or 2.
2 I saw, I don't remember.
2's the one where he needs to get married because he's going to lose his Santa powers.
Mrs. Claus,
So I'm implementing new rules into the podcast.
He's going to lose his Santa powers.
There's specific lore that you need to follow from now on.
What do you mean?
One piece of lore is if I've set it in the docket, it is set in stone. If you deviate from it, I'm taking your Santa powers.
What? No,
you're going to lose them.
I treasure my Santa powers.
And then I'm going to show up at your house looking like a nerd with flannel on and steal your wife, much like Jack Frost did in The Santa Claus 3.
He was wearing flannel?
No, my point is you wear flannel a lot. And so like how Jack Frost was a disturbing image, a dark reflection of Santa Claus, like Prometheus was a dark reflection of Batman, if you will.
It's so dark.
I am going to show up at your house, look like you with your nerdy glasses, your nerdy haircut that goes up like that.
You have the same haircut and glasses that I do.
Uh-oh. Well, it looks like we're on the right track then. Only minor alterations and I shall become you.
Whatever, man.
All right, you want to talk about what's most recent?
Yeah,
We have to have fun on the podcast.
Once in a while, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, boys. Yeah. Put the weapons down.
Yeah.
He went along with it. We're calling you off. No, head over to his house. Make sure he behaves.
Thank you, Tiger Guards. Very cool.
I thought you were going to say Tiger Woods. Thank you, Tiger Woods. Very cool. Thanks for meeting my wife. Oh, I feel so bad for him.
For Tiger Woods?
I know I shouldn't feel bad for him.
Why do you feel bad for him?
The dude had everything, and it just got tossed.
Well, yeah, he's left with 40
his
women.
Choice. It was his choice. I know, but it's sad, man. I don't know. Like, he was a role model, you know?
What do you think about his wife throwing a golf club into his car?
I think it's kind of funny, actually. I don't feel bad for him about his wife getting even with him. I feel bad for him that he got dropped by everybody. Because he was doing all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
He was doing all that stuff behind closed doors, and I am sure, I'm not going to say who, because I don't know who, and I'm not an expert on golf. I'm sure somebody knew about it. Or multiple people knew about it. He still had all those brand deals. As soon as it gets out into the public, it's like, oh, such a bad influence, bad guy, take his money.
Take his money.
It's like, no, wait a minute. He was doing that the whole time, and we were paying him the whole time, and it's fine. It's kind of the same thing with, like, I don't know, when certain, football players get caught maybe knocking people out in elevators and stuff, and it's like, before that, millions of dollars, that's okay. After that, ooh, uh-oh. It's like, it's not like it wasn't happening. I'm not saying we don't punish it.
Right.
I'm just saying it was already happening. We were already enabling that behavior. We're not getting on a high horse here by putting our foot down now.
Well, you are saying some bold things. And
I'm just saying there's some hypocrisy.
I agree.
In
yes.
the economics. And, in
the sports world, per se.
Look, all I'm saying is we fund... Look. Here's what I'm saying.
Yeah, what do you say?
So right now we have an asylum.
What?
I'm saying we take a city.
Why?
And we cut part of the city out of the overall city. We build a wall, not the wall you're thinking about. But we build a wall around.
Let's unpack what you just said.
Okay, but no, that's not. That's not. I'm saying we build a wall around it.
Okay.
And then we throw all the criminals in there, right?
Then what?
And we let them sort themselves out.
And then
I saw it in a popular video game one time, and it worked great.
Wait.
I'm thinking we implement a thing, Protocol 10.
What's Protocol 10?
Well, it's where everybody whose wife was cheated on jumps the wall and throws golf clubs at them from on top of the wall.
That's different than the video game.
10. What video game?
What do you mean?
What?
Okay, back to the news. Andy Serkis and Colin Farrell.
Who? Andy Serkis?
Yeah, that's right. I hate this podcast.
My goal is to drive you out. You're what's directed at kids.
Oh, that's messed up. So Andy Serkis is rumored to be in talks to play Alfred, and Colin Farrell could be Penguin. So that's kind of the news that's going on right now.
When Andy Serkis, when he auditions and he doesn't get the part, I'm gonna show up and I'll be like this: you didn't get the part, not for lack of trying. And I hired Jeremy Irons to do that bit. Jeremy, I have $1 million for you. I want you to make fun of Andy Serkis for not getting a role you hated.
You're a dark man.
Get Mr. Beast to fund it. Hey, here's a tree for you, Andy.
Poor Andy. No Andy.
Andy Serkis is about to be Andy Savage.
Gosh, boo.
This podcast is out of control.
Yeah. What do you think about Andy Serkis and Colin Farrell?
I gotta be completely honest with you.
Okay.
I don't care.
What?
About those two. I mean, they could do a good job. I think, isn't it as, repeat who it is as again, so that I don't mess this up.
Okay. Andy Serkis as Alfred?
Yeah. And Colin Farrell as who, though?
Penguin.
Okay. Yeah. Is he gonna put on weight for Penguin?
That I don't know.
Because, one, that's unhealthy. But I'm sure he could do it. I'm sure he could do it.
Listen, Colin, don't do that, okay?
Wow.
It's a good thing you're here.
If I was the director, I'd have like really demeaning comments. I'd walk in and I'd be like, "Oh, look, we got the machinist in here." Like when he got bigger. The machinist got thinner, you moron.
I was gonna say, did the machinist?
That's the joke. It's facetious.
You're
it's
ironic.
It's an ironic insult, okay? I was being ironically stupid the whole time.
You're an insulter too deep.
You're an insult to society.
Yeah. There we go.
I mean, I think they both do a good job, especially Andy Serkis. Both of them are great actors.
What do you got against Colin Farrell?
Nothing. I just... Colin Firth.
No, it's Farrell.
Oh, why was I saying it wrong?
I don't know.
Colin Firth's a different guy.
Yeah.
I guess I don't really remember a lot that Colin Farrell's in.
He's in Horrible Bosses.
Never seen it.
Okay. He's in The Crimes of Grindelwald. And actually, he's in Fantastic Beasts. I'm sorry, the first one.
Okay, I don't care about Harry Potter.
Okay.
I mean, I know you do, and
Yeah.
so, like, I care about it through you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's nice.
As in, I care about you, and I move through you in mysterious ways.
Are you saying you're God right now?
What?
What was that?
No.
Let's wait a second. Hold on.
No, wait a second.
Where
I'm
were
just
you going?
saying we build a city, and we put up a wall around it. And we throw Colin Firth and Andy Serkis in there, and Colin Farrell too.
You want them in there?
And we let God sort it out. That's all I'm saying.
Well, if that's all you're saying, then I completely follow you.
Oh, that's it, huh? That's all?
Okay, perfect.
No, I think they could both do great in these roles. I have less feeling on these two than the others. I mean, like, the only time Penguin was done live action was Batman Returns, and it was such a weird version of Penguin that had nothing to do with the comic version, and was cool on its own, right?
Yeah.
It was a cool interpretation. Weird as all hell, but cool. But this is obviously going for a different tone. So I don't know what to expect from those two in these roles. And so many people now have played Alfred. Well, I guess not even that many. It's like, what, 4 live action? We have...
The guy from
I can't believe we're saying the guy from. We don't remember actor names right now.
No, he was great though.
But there was the original Alfred, who I believe has passed away since then, from 1989 all the way through Batman and Robin.
Yeah, he definitely
has. The same actor. And then we had the actor in the 60s Batman show.
Yep.
And then we had... I'm sorry, we did not research
who
the previous actors were ahead of time.
This is Michael Caine, right? After that?
Yeah, Michael Caine was Alfred. I can't believe I was forgetting the Nolan verse for a second there. I was going to gloss over it
Michael
completely.
Caine.
Yeah, he was like, he's the Batman that, like, no one understands.
Yeah.
I told you, Pirates, I made you a promise. I failed. It's me, Michael Caine.
He's only a South Park character.
Oh, no, Bruce Wayne. Listen, Bruce Wayne, I made you a promise. I'm Michael Caine. Here's my promise. I don't like you. I promised you that.
That's what he said to Bruce?
No.
An incredible impression.
Wow, it's Michael Caine.
Wow, man.
Look what we got in the podcast today. Special guest Michael Caine. Yeah. You know what? By the way, Michael Caine's a great actor.
He's a great actor. Yeah.
He played up the British voice, by the way, for that role.
He did.
Yeah, he doesn't really sound quite like that. I don't think. I mean, like, I could understand him in the role completely fine.
Yeah.
But he has much less of a thick accent, I've noticed, in, like, interviews.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I'm saying, is that he played it up for a British butler.
He's a great Alfred. And then there was Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
And I like Jeremy Irons a lot.
Yeah. He was a younger Alfred, which was weird.
Yeah, not for lack of trying.
No. No.
I say that after everything now.
Yeah, of
I
course.
thought he did a really good job. And especially in BVS, he wasn't really in Justice League that much.
No.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
And he had some weird comments on the movies, but
yeah.
But, you know, whatever.
Oh, well, you know.
He's allowed to think whatever he wants, and I thought he did a good job in the role.
Yeah.
And now we're moving on, so... Has anyone ever played Alfred bad live action?
Not that I can think of, no.
Is he really...
I don't even know if anyone's played him bad, like, maybe in some, like, maybe a weird animated show, but even the animated shows that I've watched, Alfred's usually a pretty... Like, you just say stuff calmly and in a British way, and you're Alfred for the most part in those ones. So not to like downplay it, but for the most part, I've only heard good Alfred actors. You know what I mean?
I think it's harder to play the role of Batman than it is to play the role of Alfred if we're going there.
Yeah, that's what I would agree 100%.
Or harder than to play the role of Joker than either of those.
Yes, yeah.
It's much easier to be Batman than Joker.
There's just less emotions. There's less stuff going on, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
and it's even easier by that token to be Alfred.
Right.
And you get less screen time too.
Definitely.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying it's not a hard role to play, but I think that they will pick somebody talented. I think WB is very good at casting. There's certain castings I've disagreed with the DCEU or whatever, but it's never because they're a bad actor. It's just because every once in a while I felt like someone didn't fit. Yeah. I never thought Ezra Miller fit the Flash, really.
Sure.
Personally. But other people felt differently on it, and that's fine. And I think as an actor, he's great.
Yeah, he's
great. So that's nothing on him, and that's the worst I could see coming of this, is all I'm saying. Is maybe someone where it's like, they get a good actor. I personally, with my taste, think like, that doesn't really fit the character for me.
Yeah, that's fine. And then there's, and Colin Farrell as Penguin. That is an interesting choice. We'll see how that goes. He, like you said, it'd be weird if he was like a skinny penguin, because we've never really seen that.
But it could be something totally different, or they could prosthetic him up. They've gotten really good at doing prosthetic, I guess they're called fat suits.
They did that with him in Horrible Bosses, actually. Colin Farrell.
Oh, really?
He had like a fat suit on and he was like balding.
You mean Colin Firth?
No, Colin Farrell.
Oh.
You!
I'm just saying we throw them in a city.
Gosh.
No, yeah, they'll be good.
You have to be stopped.
They'll be good in the role.
Yeah, I think so too.
And this is confirmed.
I don't know. I think it's mostly rumored, to be honest. But it's speculated. Andy Serkis is more likely. I've seen a lot more about Andy Serkis than I have about Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell's a new one. So
I also saw they were looking to they were eyeing who to bring in for Two-Face a little bit.
That would be cool. I don't know who they would bring in, but yeah. I like the last one with Aaron Eckhart. I think that's his name.
Yeah, he's so good.
He's great. Great Two-Face. Great Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
Moving on to, we talked about this a while ago.
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman and Paul Dano as Riddler.
Okay, so can I real quick take Zoe Kravitz?
Of course.
She is phenomenal.
No doubt.
Very good actress. She's beautiful.
Yes.
By the way, she is gorgeous. She's so elegant looking.
Important to note.
Well, yeah, and so the reason that that's important is because that's one of the key facets that fits Catwoman.
Oh, for sure. And I'm saying that seriously.
Yeah, Catwoman, well, I mean, I sometimes bring up how, attractive women are. I'm a straight, heterosexual male in my mid-20s, and I don't objectify people, but I'm allowed to appreciate beauty and art where I see it.
And that's all that is. Yeah.
But with Catwoman, she is a very attractive socialite woman.
Yes.
She's someone who needs to sort of go back and forth between the worlds of vigilantism and the world of Gotham. Socialite, I don't know how you'd say it, like the social world of Gotham, essentially sort of fitting into both the same circles as Bruce Wayne and Batman. It's not easy to get someone to play that role. This is someone with experience being Catwoman, though. She voiced Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie. I know it's not live action, but she did voice her there. She, my chair's squeaky.
Yours is?
Yeah. Sorry.
Dang it, man.
Getting off track. She played different roles in Mad Max Fury Road and also, so I should clarify, I didn't write down who she was in Mad Max Fury Road. I thought she was one of the Valkyries, but...
Could have been. I haven't seen the movie in forever. So
you haven't seen Mad Max Fury Road? No.
Well, I have seen it, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a few years for me. But I remembered her more. I'm literally losing my train of thought now.
It's A-okay.
Voicing Mary Jane, which I have as Mary Jan, Into the Spider-Verse. So I've never seen her in a bad role. Are you looking up who she played in Mad Max Fury Road? I appreciate that. I'll buy you time.
You will, yes.
I think that there is... this was mostly a accepted and liked casting. That's really, I don't know. I think that's the heart of it. There were some people that were a little apprehensive to her being cast as Catwoman. I wasn't. I don't really have anything against it.
No.
I don't care. I don't think there's anything really about how Catwoman looks other than being a attractive female who can fit into both the vigilante and the socialite circle that matters about that character's physical appearance, So like for some of the people who I'm wording it carefully. I'm wording it even more carefully than I did the first time we recorded this that we had audio issues.
Yeah.
For someone who in the past has been like, I don't like it when they change castings in certain ways because it feels like it's weird or doesn't fit with the source material, I don't think this matters. I think people that are making it matter are stretching it a little bit. If it bothers you, I'm not taking a dump on you here. I'm just saying that's why I don't care.
Sure.
I think she fits the role.
Also, she played Toast in Mad Max. She was one of those 5, I believe it was Valkyries, like you said. Where it was a group of like 5 ladies who were all kind of in bad shape. She was part of that. So, just so you know.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you very much. And you agree with what I said. You think she fits the role?
I think she fits the role great. I think that she's a really nice fit for it. I think that she's a great actor. And I think that she'll do a great job portraying the character. And I think they've done a really good job casting overall with that, too. They're going with kind of like a younger, newer age Batman and cast, honestly. And I like the direction they're going with it. Because we're not necessarily getting... Like, they're bigger name actors, a lot of these guys, but they're not all high A-listers. You know what I mean? Like
also, I don't feel like it's something like Terminator Dark Fate, where it was, like, very clearly from the beginning they were going in on sort of woke culture beats to make a story. I think that was sort of the apprehension some people were having maybe a little bit with, like, when they change castings like that. But I don't think this is at all that.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's sort of what I'm saying, is that, like, it seems like, yeah, some characters might not look the way you've always seen them, but, like, that doesn't mean they're not the same character.
No,
just
it's
like
different interpretations, and that's fine.
And there was never that, backlash to how Penguin was in Batman Returns. That was nothing like the comic book Penguin. So it's like, I'm saying the divide between that and who Penguin was in the comics is very different from the divide of Catwoman. This Catwoman isn't white.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just going to hit it on the head right now.
Well, and even Halle Berry played Catwoman.
That was a really bad portrayal.
Really bad portrayal.
But she was a good actress.
But it happened is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It happened. So
and Catwoman...
Doesn't mean it was great. It was an abomination.
Well,
but
and in Batman Year One, Catwoman was depicted a lot this way. I believe she was of mixed descent.
Okay, yeah.
She wasn't just white. So, I don't know. Right. I'm just saying, like, if you're against this, I would hope you would have a good reason for it beyond that. I think for me, I used to be more of a stickler for, like, this doesn't fit the comic canon.
Right.
Before I started seeing things that really worked, like Zendaya as Mary Jane.
That was a big one.
Really good.
Yes.
Before I started seeing, like, depictions like that. What was the one you pointed out to me before, like a big change like that? Domino in Deadpool?
Yeah.
She was fantastic.
Yeah.
Zazie Beetz?
Zazie Beetz, she's
amazing.
Yes. She's incredible.
So I'm saying, like, I think this is something that doesn't matter as much anymore, and it's almost not worth talking about.
No.
Unless it's, like, a movie is capitalizing on woke culture to sell its movie, and I don't think this is doing that at all.
No,
I think there's a huge divide between those two things, is what I'm saying. They're sometimes tied together for some reason in people's heads.
Yeah. I think that's fair to say. Yeah.
So, yeah, I just thought it was fair to bring up. I don't want to gloss over every major criticism of everything just because it's uncomfortable to talk about.
I get it. I think it's good.
As far as Paul Dano as the Riddler, it's weird. It's like you thought he fit this role more than I think he fits this role. I almost feel like Zazie Beetz fits Catwoman more than Paul Dano fits Riddler, but for me that's more just because I know nothing about him other than just his face.
I know him just from, I believe he was in 12 Years a Slave.
He was.
If I remember.
And he was, because we did look that up.
That's right. So I really liked him in that. I think he fits that role for me. He kind of looks, and this is not meant to be, I guess...
Are you going to say he looks like a nerd?
Kind of, yeah. And he's kind of got a mildly, especially in, like, the...
Paul, you can come out. We got him.
And in the 12 Years a Slave movie, too, he's kind of got, like, a greasy, kind of grimy look to him, too. And it works. And I kind of can see and picture Riddler in that way. Kind of like a nerdy, greasy, but, like, obviously really smart and intellectual person. I think he just looks that way for me. You know what I mean? Like, he looks like a Riddler for me in the way that I kind of imagine Riddler. And especially with some of the props and the way that they're going to make him look, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're right. They are going to change it.
They'll change him and they'll make him look and feel like a Riddler. And, I mean, I feel like, for me, just looking at him, which is tough to do because I don't know a lot about his work. I've just really seen him in 12 Years a Slave. I think he could be a great fit for this role, is essentially what it is. From the little bit that I know and from just looking at him, I like the casting choice. So that's where I'm at with it.
I do too. I've so far liked all of these casting choices.
Yeah.
Honestly. All the way back to when Joaquin was confirmed as the Joker for his own movie to when they started releasing casting for this movie. I've liked what DC and Warner have been doing with casting.
Yeah.
On that note, just two very brief things. They've confirmed this is not connected to the Joker at all. Pattinson described the movie as kind of a different world. So it seems like there's no connection. I still think they easily could have just said, Joker's a one-off. Joaquin, you never have to come back. You're good, you're done. It seems like Joaquin wants to come back now. I'm not going to get into that, but right. There have been stories coming out that he wants to.
Or at least that he's open to it.
Yes, but he even was like creating fan posters I was reading to show Todd Phillips his ideas for a sequel.
Wow.
So it seems like he's really into it. But let's just say we lived in a multiverse, right? In a different world where Joaquin wanted one and done, never come back to the role. I still think what they could have done very easily is had the spoilers for Joker here. Spoilers for Joker. Get out of here if you don't want spoilers. They could have had the Joker riots, right? That kill the Waynes.
Yeah.
Then have that be Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Like his origin story.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Joker never comes up again. He's not that comic Joker until a new Joker comes up that's inspired by the original from 20 or 30 years before later down the road, right? So I'm saying, like, you have, like, the figurehead that Joker's inspired by is Joaquin.
Yes.
And so you could have had that whole movie happen, never clarify fully what events did and didn't happen other than the Joker riot and the Waynes dying in it.
And then you leave that like that.
And that could have built the foundation for the new Batman.
It's an interesting idea, yeah.
But we're apparently not going that way.
I think that's fine, though.
I think it's fine. You're right.
Because they're going their own direction. They're doing their own things. And that's kind of what we talked about, I guess, when the audio issues happened. And we won't get into it quite as much, but just the DC EU is expanding and doing its own thing and doing one-offs and letting its creators do whatever they want, and it doesn't have to be connected. It's just tell a story, make a good film, cast the right people, and let's see what you can make. And here's some freedom. Just create something that works, that's unique, and that's going to help us stand out, and kind of even just go far away from that Marvel formula.
Yep.
And let's do our own formula of just not even really having one. Just do whatever you want and make it dark, make it light. It doesn't matter. Like, let's just take the characters, stay true to the characters, but also expand on them. And
do different versions.
Exactly.
And I think, too, no matter what, they are connected movies in one way. This is now the worlds of DC.
Yeah.
So essentially, my interpretation of that, and you can call it headcanon if you want, but this is how I understand their rebranding, is that it's like a multiverse. It might never cross over, but it's essentially like, hey, this is all DC, this is all a multiverse. In Earth 157432 color blue, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker happened.
Decent rhyme.
But in Earth 5432 elephant, Batman happened.
Not as good of a rhyme, I will say.
And, I'm just saying, like, essentially it's like, they're separate continuities, but they're all in the same multiverse. And they get to the same hearts of the characters through different stories and different interpretations that allow directors to come on later, either expand on a world, a standalone world if they want to. Like, if somebody comes along and they want to make an R story set in the world of Joker, and they have a really good pitch, like, it's just phenomenal, out of the park, let them do it.
Yeah.
But if somebody comes along, they have their own world, let them do it. That's fine. And then if you want to build your own universe, like, multiple movies, like, let's say you want to have 3 movies, a Catwoman spinoff, and a new Justice League in the Pattinson world, there you go. Let them do it.
Great. Go for it.
Fantastic.
And actually take your time with it because there's no rush.
Please do.
Don't rush into
Don't rush into it again.
And don't CGI a mustache again.
No, and regardless of how much we love BVS, don't Martha moment your way out of
please no.
Out of tension, because people don't respond well to it. Even if a lot of people can look past it or enjoy it,
it's not great.
More people won't look past it.
That's correct.
And you can't expect them to.
No,
not anymore.
So yeah, it's exciting. I like the direction it's going.
Yeah, well, and even with this, Pattinson, I have nothing to say about it other than what he said. Described his Batman as not a hero. I'm going to put words into Pattinson's mouth here a little bit because I don't have the full quote up here, but essentially he was talking about how Batman is not a black and white, super perfect moral paragon, golden boy, essentially. Like, he's not Superman. He's not like a truth, justice, and the American way, and like, I always know what's right guy. He's like a sometimes getting down in the mud to do the dirty thing that's good for the greater good.
Which is cool that Pattinson recognizes that about Batman, and he clearly understands at least that part of Batman. It seems like he's a fan, which is cool, because he's going to be playing him. He's playing him in a way that hopefully is a little bit edgier, and kind of, that's just what Batman is he doesn't always have the right answers. He kind of just goes by instinct at times, and that's what makes him Batman. He's human, he's got flaws, he doesn't always do stuff right, and that's a really nice aspect of the character. And for Pattinson to understand that, and to also go into the character, or go into the role, understanding the character that way, is exciting. It's a cool thing about him, and I'm excited to see his interpretation of him.
Next up, moving on to the Calling Out China portion of the podcast. No, not really. So this is a very quick gaming story. I feel like we don't cover gaming enough in this podcast, really. I'm going to try to cover this in like less than 10 minutes. Then we'll just recap our week and get you out of here, because I know it's getting late, so I'm sorry.
No worries.
Gamers in China have gotten a curfew imposed on them for gaming. This is really weird. This is children. So I want to emphasize that first off. It's gamers under 18. They can't play between 2200 and 8 o'clock. So essentially, I believe that's 10 p.m. and 8 a.m., I believe. That's like a good 10 hours where they just can't play. And they're restricted to 90 minutes of gaming on weekdays, but 3 hours total on weekends and holidays. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't really know what I think about this. Yes, if your child is playing 20 hours of video games a day, that is a problem, right? No matter where they are. If a person is doing that, I would say that's a little bit of a problem, because like, I love video games. You have to devote your time where you choose to as an adult. And as an adult parent, you need to control where your child does, right? I don't think that's really the government's place to do that.
No, it's
that's
not.
That's my problem with this.
It's not the government's place at all to do that. And that's where China's at, as far as just a state, is they are literally controlling every aspect of their people right now. It's a completely messed up country, to be honest with you.
Well, you sound like someone who should go put your hand out in front of a tank.
You're right.
An event that clearly never happened, by the way, if you ask anyone in China. Did you know people don't know about that in China?
It's insane.
They have edited history. People don't know Tiananmen Square happened. They think people made it up.
Yeah.
In Western society.
That doesn't surprise
their
me
government
at all. It's in such a bad place. And for this, it's just another thing where they're slowly restricting everything that their people can do. And this is something that's happened before in history. It's just happening in different ways now. It's happening in a way now that's more focused on technology and limiting people's freedoms based on things that they're interested in, or in how they express themselves in any way. And that's why there's so many problems, and that's why there's so many protests and uprisings in China right now. Something like this, sure, kids under maybe 10, is it ideal for them to be playing video games for over 3 hours a day on weekdays, or whatever it is, or 90 minutes 90 minutes on weekdays and 3 hours on weekends. Sure, that's not ideal. But 90 minutes is an hour and a half. I mean, that's a movie. So
no, it's less.
A
movie is 2 hours and
some like animated movies.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not trying to nitpick what you're saying. Right. I'm just saying that, like, if you let your kid go to a movie, they're spending more time looking at a screen. That is what I'm saying.
They're doing the same thing. So what is the problem? It's not even that aspect either. And obviously, gaming for 3 hours, I do that all the time. And it doesn't mean that we're addicted to video games.
But you can't answer a text.
But then, there is that anyway. So moving back to China.
Well, you would like to move to China. You can't after this podcast. You can't at all. There was a recent story about a YouTuber who sings now in China, who signed a contract with them. And I was going to say that when I start my musical career in China, I'm going to have to denounce you and the podcast completely and come out and say that this was all fiction. Everything we said in the podcast. Well, good. I want to make that known right now, China, that I am open to any lucrative, huge brand deals that you would like to offer me, and will denounce the podcast as fiction for them.
You're a fraud and a sellout. And hate your guts. But I respect your plan. Please pursue it. Good for you.
But this whole thing is...
It's just a problem because, I mean, looking at it from just...
It's not a gaming aspect, I think, that you and I are looking at it from. It's more of a societal aspect.
It's a very much so a societal aspect.
This gaming thing is a symptom of a problem.
Exactly. And it's it's like you said, it's a way bigger problem than that, and it's something that is hard to dive into just on the surface like this because
especially on a podcast like ours where we often cover lighter things,
very lighter things.
But you know what? You and I have talked about this. We can't be afraid to talk about real things in the real world.
No, it's not authentic, and we want to be authentic on the channel. And this is something that is obviously a really bad thing that's happening in the world right now. It's oppressive, and these people are dealing with a very, very Big Brother-esque government.
It's like 1984.
It is. They're monitoring their every move, and there's not really freedom happening, and they're restricted in every way. And I think you feel it even more so in this case with technology, because technology connects everyone and they're limiting that. And so it's having an insane impact on the people. The freedom's not there. And this is just a small thing that is like you said, it's a symptom of a very large virus that's in China right now. So
what I would say is the Chinese government.
Exactly, yeah.
It's enforcement. This is the problem. This is my problem too with when people talk about Russia, right? You can hate Russia's government all you want. Now, here's the thing. Ironically, a lot of people in Russia actually like their government, just like China. You know? I'm not saying that's right all the time. I'm stating it as it is. That is true.
Right.
A lot of people love their government there. The people who live in these places are not synonymous with the government. Whatever problems you have with the Chinese government or the Russian government or the whatever government is not the people. I think it's very easy to lose sight and be like, stupid wherever, whether it's like we're talking about China or Russia or whatever. When you have a problem with the government, you're not doing that. But I've seen that a lot, that sentiment, especially online. The problem is that people live there. People spoke out about the North Korean government for so many years, but often forgot the people who endured it and who lived there, and some of whom were happy because they were taught to be happy, others who acted happy because they were scared. And the fact is that, like, just like anywhere else in the world, 99.9% of Chinese people, I'm sure, are very good people. 99.9% of Russian people, I'm sure, are very good people. And 99.9% of North Korean people, I'm sure, are very good people. But it just takes that 0.1% that runs the government to essentially be the bad apple that spoils the whole bunch. And that's sort of my problem with this, is I think a lot of people don't know that they're being taken advantage of, that the government is micromanaging their lives, and that there is an alternative to that. There's many alternatives to that. I'm not saying that the U.S. system is perfect or that it is the alternative for every country. But there is an alternative to a government ruling with an iron fist. The United States government, despite any flaws it may have, and seizing of more and more federal powers as time has gone on in history, does not rule with an iron fist compared to any country like this. And yet they maintain order. So why does that system work? It works because of freedom. You know, the U.S. government would have been overthrown at some point in history if people hated it enough. Maybe we're at a point now where I'm not saying that should happen at all. I don't want to get in any trouble here. But I'm saying
wait a minute now.
We're at a point objectively where I don't think that could happen anymore because the government is so well equipped, right? That's sort of the problem a lot of people have had with all of these arguments. Like why people get into such big Second Amendment arguments is like there's both sides to that coin. But I'm saying that the U.S. government lasted because it allowed freedoms, because it worked with its people. This isn't. I think that's a problem. And I think that every human being, you will never have a perfect system no matter what you do, ever in the world. But every human being deserves basic human rights, and how you spend your time is one of them. How you raise your children is another one without hurting them, you know. Obviously, if there's physical abuse, the government can step in. That makes total sense. But you allowing your children to spend time the way that you think is fine, maybe that's your right as a parent.
Should be.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Or it should be. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have anything to add to this? I don't.
No. I mean, it's such a, like I said, it's such a wide-ranging. There's so much to go into. It's a lot to unpack, and it's not really something that we really, I guess, would focus on is that deeper stuff, to be honest with you. Like I like to focus on the gaming and movies and stuff like that, and this is a lot bigger issue than that. And so it's important to highlight, I think, because it just kind of shows once again what the people are dealing with over there.
Yeah.
But I don't really have too much more to add to it.
No.
So.
And I'm with you too. I like to focus on the entertaining aspect too. But I think it's also, like you said, it's disingenuous if every time something comes up we gloss over it for gaming.
Definitely.
Or for movies or whatever. I think we need to talk about, serious stuff as it comes up, even if this isn't a political podcast.
Right.
Technically, every piece of art and everything created is in some way a little bit political. And those things still need to be talked about. But when it comes to basic human freedoms, they really need to be talked about. Especially after that whole Blizzard China thing. I'm kind of tired of just looking the other way when governments and companies sort of turn a blind eye to those things. It's very frustrating for me. It's at a point where we have a platform we can say something. At the very least, it makes me feel better that I said something. Even if it did nothing, I don't really care. If I can't influence it, fine. I was able to say something. Make somebody think about it. That's enough.
For sure.
So, wow. How was your week?
We got deep this podcast, man.
Well, it has to happen.
This was our
sometimes.
deeper one.
Well, it has to happen sometimes. It happened too with the violence in video games one too.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Way back.
Yeah. So for this weekend, or this last week, I don't know if I told you, I beat Titanfall 2, the campaign. Had a great time with it. I don't know if I've updated that, but I played it for the first time. Had a great time with it. And right now, I've been playing Modern Warfare, the new COD. It's fantastic.
Did you play the campaign?
I did. It's great. It's a great campaign.
And you love the campaign.
I love the campaign.
So I'm not trying to interrupt you. Did you have any opinion on that whole the historical change? Like how they blamed the operation, like I think it was the Highway to Hell or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? The operation that the US did that went south in the game.
Yeah.
Trying not to get into spoilers here.
Okay.
That's something everybody knows about. Let's not get into spoilers for that game because it's so new. Other than, I think you can guess in the game there is a operation the U.S. conducts, something bad happens, right? That in the background of the game.
I guess I don't remember the mission.
Okay.
I guess I'm not super aware about it.
I'm going to say spoilers then for the game, right? It's hard for me to describe because I didn't watch the whole thing, but essentially there was a whole controversy about the creators of the game changed some historical details. Originally, it was the Russians who conducted, or no, I'm sorry. Originally, the United States conducted this operation that went badly. In the game, it's the Russians. So the key story point, you know how the Russians are the bad guys in this?
Yeah.
You know how there's the whole, like, what they do in the game, and then they're the bad guys.
Yeah.
Originally, the U.S. did a lot of that.
Oh,
in history.
I didn't know that.
They rewrote it to be the Russians.
I see. Okay.
I'm sorry I explained that so badly.
No, it's okay. I
did,
was unaware of that completely. I had no idea.
So there was a big controversy about that.
Wow.
Now, I don't personally expect a video game to be a history book, but that was kind of weird, I would say.
It's a little weird that they changed it. But...
I would say there's sort of a continuing thing with that, where there's, for some reason, the Russians are always the bad guys now in games. Maybe something that is a little odd to me, but that's all.
That is interesting.
That's all I'll have to say about that.
I never thought about that. But it was...
But it looked really good. I'm not saying that made it bad.
No, there were some great missions. I really loved it. The online's really fun. They brought back Spec Ops. So there's survival mode in there.
It is a reboot, right? Or is it a continuation?
It's kind of a... So...
I didn't understand if it's supposed to take place after MW3.
It's all connected.
Oh, it is supposed to be after MW3.
No.
Is this the same Captain Price as in the other ones? This is not an alternate Captain Price.
Same Captain Price.
How does that work?
They explain it at the end. So I don't want to spoil anything that way because it's literally at the end of it. Okay. But it all gets kind of explained there. So a little bit.
Okay. So you're trying not to ruin it for me.
Exactly.
That's what you're trying to do.
For sure.
I appreciate that.
So because I know you're going to play
someone will eventually, but you know what? I care more about the gameplay. But
for sure. So yeah, the gameplay is great. I had a great time with it. And then I've been watching Titans, and I'm just about all caught up with that. They're working their way through season 2 right now and releasing it, and I'm on season 2.
Screw Batman.
Yeah. I'm on season 2, episode 6, where some crazy stuff just happened. So it's
Jason Todd.
Jason Todd is in the show.
I heard he's very featured at the end and beginning of season 1 and 2.
He is definitely in season 2 for sure, and yeah, he shows up midway through season 1, I believe, and then you see him kind of on and off throughout. But yeah, he's great. Raven's great. Dick Grayson's great, and then they bring in some other characters as well. So it's a good time. I'm excited, and I'm just about to get. I'm at the Superboy episode, and then it's about to get to the Bruce Wayne episode. So I'm excited.
Nice. Old man Bruce Wayne.
Ser Jorah. That's right.
I kind of think he looks like the who's the dude who ran the Playboy Bunny Mansion?
Hugh Hefner.
Yes, he looks a little bit like Hugh Hefner.
Okay.
Hugh Hefner Bruce Wayne. To me,
that works.
I mean, he's kind of odd.
He's a little odd.
I'm sure the actor's good. It seems like
Bruce Wayne
looks like he's 90 in that, though.
He's great. He's great in Game of Thrones. He's Ser Jorah.
I'm sure he's fine.
He's an excellent warrior in Game of Thrones. So,
but you know what? I don't think anyone watched Game of Thrones for Ser Jorah. I think they watched that for Daenerys Targaryen.
Wait a minute. Now.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh God.
Look, all I'm saying is, in The Witcher, we get the Witcher bath scene. And in Game of Thrones, we get the Mother of Dragons showing us her dragons on screen. That's what I'm saying. Look, I need to differentiate this channel. It's not kid-directed.
You're right.
We need to make sure...
Keep doing what you're doing.
It needs to be as crass as possible. I'm kidding, YouTube. Don't demonetize
Make
me.
more
We're walking a fine
jokes.
line.
Go.
It's a fine line. Where's the line? Are we not kid-directed, or are we not advertiser-friendly? What do we do?
Yeah. Help us.
So this past week, oh man, what have I been doing? I've worked on the channel so much. Like a lot. I'm sure more than anybody knows.
Yeah.
In terms of what we've put up. It's like one video a day, but it takes me hours every day. But essentially, I've done a lot of that. I've tried to spend some more time with friends. I went with my brother. This is just a personal story now.
Sure.
One of my brother today had Mexican at a place called El Sombrero.
Oh!
Literally, it's called El Sombrero.
I love it. Okay.
Over in the Twin Cities. So, drove there, had some food there. That was good. I was literally terrified I was going to get sick. I didn't.
Nice.
So mission accomplished there.
Very good.
What have I really done though in terms of watching?
Are you still watching the animated series?
Yeah, I am watching Batman the Animated Series. I don't remember. I watched the Mad Hatter episode recently. A couple of them.
Great episode, yeah.
There was the episode. He shows up again right away.
Yeah, I feel like he has a couple back-to-back almost.
Well, it's like an episode, and then like 2 episodes later, he's back.
Okay.
So it was like, obviously, the episode with Alice. It was kind of sad.
Yeah, it is kind of sad.
Like, I feel kind of bad for Jervis Tech. Then there's obviously the episode where he creates a totally artificial world for Bruce Wayne, where it's like everything he wanted. His parents are still alive and everything.
Yeah.
There is an episode of Supernatural like that. And I'm wondering if it was at all inspired by it, since they're both Warner properties.
Interesting. Yeah.
It is interesting. I've noticed some connections there. I don't know. Phenomenal show. I'm still loving that. I've been collecting the DC Animated Universe movies. My mom bought me Mystery of the Batwoman. As an unexpected gift.
That's a great pickup.
So that was nice. Is it the most beloved movie in the franchise? No, absolutely not. But for some reason, it wasn't in the complete Blu-ray I have of the animated series, which I found really weird. So I got that for when I get there. And I've been playing a lot of Arkham Origins, replaying through that game.
Yes, okay.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun.
It is. It's a great
The character dynamics between Batman and Joker and Batman and Alfred are just perfect.
The
Bane is so good.
He is.
I just wish Bane was in it more. He's not really in the game that much.
No, and it's basically the best version of Bane that we see in the Arkham series. So.
Oh, it's by far the best version we see.
Yeah, so it's a shame you don't see more of them.
Yeah. So that's mainly what I've been doing. But, well...
You're a busy man.
Absolutely, we both are. Hey... We appreciate you joining us. We hope you stuck around for all or the majority of this and had a good time. And we will be bringing the podcast back soon. It's something I would like to move to close to once a week. I'm not sure if we'll get it out every week, but maybe every other or every few weeks. I think it's nice to put the podcast up. And we hope you enjoy them. So have a great day. Let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about in the future down in the comments below. Give us any feedback of anything you think about this, constructive or otherwise. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.